In this video, we're going to talk about cybersecurity tools, what they are and how to use them. Hi everybody, welcome to StudioSec. Thank you for watching. Like if this video is helpful, comment down below with your thoughts on cybersecurity tools and subscribe for more content. I'll be posting every week. Now, this is part of CompTIA Security Plus Chapter 2, Tools and Technologies. And here's a link to cybersecurity technologies. Now we're talking about cybersecurity tools. So there are a lot of tools used in the cybersecurity field, and we're not going to be able to cover all of them. We're just going to kind of cover the big ones, right? A lot of them are used by IT professionals just in general, not pure cybersecurity staff, or most are designed for maintenance. But however, all can be leveraged for offensive and defensive purposes. Mind you, a major theme in cybersecurity is things being used in a way that they weren't necessarily intended to be used. So you'll probably see that. Now, before we start, if you are a student and you're wanting to learn these tools so you can practice with them, absolutely do not use these in the wild. Use these in a home lab, in a secure environment where none of this is going to leak out into the actual internet. And if you don't have a home lab yet, or if you're interested, here's a link to my home lab video. A home lab is a great way to start off your cybersecurity journey. Now remember, if you try this in the real world without permission, you will be eaten by the cybersecurity monster, and that would be tragic. Now we're going to start with two basic commands. And the first is going to be ping. Now you probably have come across ping before. It's a pretty easy to use command, but you basically go ping and then your IP address, right? And what that basically does is it checks to see if a machine is up. So let's ping Google. So ping 8.8.8.8. And then we're just going to keep kind of like if you're poking a person, right? Now, if the person's dead, they're probably not going to respond to you. So you're going to keep pinging, but you're not going to get a response back, right? Now, if they are alive and they're responsive, they're probably going to look at you and then give you a response. Well, that's exactly how ping works. If you ping a machine and it isn't sending anything back, well, one of two things can be true. One, it could be turned off, or two, there could be a firewall rule that's preventing it from communicating. Now, if it is responding, then there you go. It's alive. Now, the next one is NMAP. And NMAP is similar to ping. In fact, it includes a flag that is, well, similar to ping, but it's much more intense, right? It interrogates a device or on a much granular level than ping does. So NMAP, you can include a number of different flags. So you go NMAP, your flags, and then the IP address, right? You can also use CIDR notation. So you can do like, let's say IP address / 0/32 or whatever, right? You can use CIDR notation on your IP. You can do all kinds of things with NMAP, but basically it allows you to check ports, check version, check for what kind of applications and services are running. NMAP is a great tool to be able to do some reconnaissance on a machine. And mind you, if you are new to NMAP, just go into your terminal and type nmap-h, and that will show you everything you need to know about NMAP. Now we're going to talk about two operating systems. So the first one's going to be Kali Linux. Now I'm only talking about these just because they could be of interest to you or good for practice, right? So Kali Linux is a great tool for anybody wanting to get into cybersecurity. It has all the different cybersecurity tools pre-installed on the machine, and it runs on Linux, so it's open source. But I'm including Kali Linux just because it's great. You can get it, you can boot it up, you can use it in a virtual environment, or you can use it on a Raspberry Pi. And it's a great use for cybersecurity students and for security professionals alike. Next is any kind of web server. So whether you want to practice with Apache web server, or if you want to practice with Windows web server or Windows server, excuse me. But it's good to get familiar with how these work, how to administer them, how to use Active Directory. These can be very good, especially if you're wanting to get into the cybersecurity or IT fields. They will really let you, kind of get an idea on, okay, well, this is how Active Directory works, this is how the server runs. You know, if you can administer it at home, and then you can, you know, show that to an interviewer, then, you know, they'll be like, well, this guy knows his stuff, you know, or her stuff, excuse me, and they're, you know, really, they're practicing and they're trying to get it right. Next is programs. And we're gonna start with WIRESHARK, right? In WIRESHARK, basically, it's just like looking over, it's basically like, say you sit down in a coffee shop and then you just start eavesdropping on conversations, right? And then you start looking around the room to see who's talking to who, you know? Well, that's kind of what WIRESHARK does, right? It does that in a network. You know, it'll kind of show you all the packets that are traveling over the network. Now, most of them may not necessarily be particularly interesting, but, you know, let's say you're suspicious of some activity going on your network, you may be able to pick it up on WIRESHARK. So WIRESHARK is a great tool to know. And let's say you're an attacker and you're looking for, you know, someone communicating over an insecure channel or, you know, sending something sensitive. You can probably catch it on WIRESHARK. So again, great tool. And the next is METASPLOIT. And this is probably one you've come across if you're learning about cybersecurity. It's probably everybody's favorite one because it's the cool hacker tool. But again, you want to make sure that you understand how networking works and how, you know, some of the more basic IT things happen whenever you use METASPLOIT. But METASPLOIT's a pretty sick tool. It, you know, kind of houses all the different exploits. You know, you can use it to attack different things. It's pretty cool. So if you're wanting to get into penetration testing or red teaming, METASPLOIT's probably a tool you will be using. Now, mind you, when I say use a tool in a home lab, this is the tool you want to use in a home lab. So like if you think about NMAP, that's kind of like shooting a laser pointer at like a building, you know, you're going to annoy some people and they're probably going to like find you, but you know, you're not doing any damage. Well, METASPLOIT is like shooting a tank at them, you know, and it may not necessarily hit anything because they're, you know, they might have fortified their infrastructure, but just don't, okay? Use it in a home lab. Do not use it in the real world. The next tool is NESSUS, and this is a vulnerability scanner. NESSUS is pretty sick. There's a free version out there that you can use, but you can also upgrade to a paid version that allows for a lot more functionality. But NESSUS, basically it'll do an intense scan of a system and it'll see, you know, what is out of date, what has current exploits out in the wild for it, and it'll kind of give you a ranking on how vulnerable a system is. So NESSUS is a great tool. Next is John the Ripper. And if you're familiar with password cracking, and here's a link to our passwords video, but John the Ripper is a password cracking app. And you know, it can do all kinds of attacks. It can do the three main ones, right? It can do brute force, it can do dictionary, and it can do rainbow table. But you know, John the Ripper is probably, you know, a good one to test, you know, your passwords. If you want to see how secure your password is. Now, mind you, John the Ripper, it's using math. All of these things are using math to attack problems. So you're going to want a beefy computer if you're wanting to use John the Ripper quickly, and probably use a good graphics card, because graphics card allow for multi-thread processes, meaning it can run multiple math problems at the same time. So that just allows it to work really quickly. Next would be Splunk or OSSec, and these are included. These are SIMs, right? Security, Information and Event Management Systems, right? So, you know, you want to use a SIM. A SIM, especially if you're dealing with a lot of data, or if you're dealing with big data. Here's a link to big data. You know, these are going to be, you know, the kind of apps for you. They basically just make it really easy to deal with large amounts of information, to be able to find suspicious activity. And if you're a cybersecurity professional, you're probably going to be coming across one of these one day. Now, we've gone through a lot of tools. So, you know, feel free to watch this video again several times if you need to. Really hope that this video is helpful. And if it is, like this video, comment down below with your thoughts. Again, if you're a student, do not test these in the wild. Test these at home in a home lab. You already have a link to the home lab video. You know, don't go to jail. Don't go to jail, kids. So, you know, like, comment, subscribe, posting every week, and have a good one. Thank you.